This is J-Ram.
And this is Billy.
And this is another edition of Hot Takes.
Yes, and today we are talking about conspiracy theories. And a few weeks ago, from the date of this publication, we're actually recording it on, what day is today, James? I'm a night worker. I don't ever remember what day it is.
I am too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already Monday. It's Monday, July 22nd.
Yeah. So a few days ago on this time scale, a few weeks ago for you, I posted on my Facebook asking if, I asked a question. I said, what, if any, conspiracy theory do you believe is true? And why do you believe it? A lot of people didn't give exact, explanations as to why they believe these conspiracy theories, which, I kind of expected. But, a lot of them...
They don't want the government to find them, man.
Yeah, well, of course.
Tinfoil hats on, everybody.
Yeah, tinfoil hats on. We're about to dive into some conspiracy theories. And, we had a little bit of a debate before this podcast. We weren't sure if this would fall under a Wow That's Deep or a Hot Takes, but we decided on Hot Takes because a couple of the conspiracy theories that we're going to be talking about today can be seen as controversial.
Yeah, some of the biggest controversial conspiracy theories going on right now, actually.
Yeah. Well, and some that have been going on for decades.
Yeah.
A lot of them you'll see involve a lot of politics, a lot of secret societies, or just general. It has a basic theme, James.
Yeah.
Of distrust.
Well, the truth is out there.
Is that what you say?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You gonna go to Area 51?
Dude, I'm ready. Let's storm it, man. I want us to live podcast from it. If we Naruto run, they can't get all of us. I believe it. I got Cody on board to yoke the gallon jugs of Monster Energy drink we'll need. We got this.
I asked Cody if he would be a Naruto runner or if he would be a Kyle Berserker. Cody's not a Kyle. He doesn't.
No, but
he doesn't bear the name of Kyle.
If we gave him enough Monster Energy drinks.
What's funny? I actually read a post on that event page. It was we should give the Kyles Red Bulls too, and it was okay, just hear me out. They would be Berserker level, and they'd get to fly.
Yeah, because Red Bull gives you wings.
Brought to you by Red Bull
and Monster Energy drinks.
But, on that note, James, I'm excited to say that we have a local business that is interested in helping us out.
What?
I know. I can't believe it. But, I go up to, Lungbusters of Lexington, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get my vape from, I'm sure that a lot of you have heard the puff. Yeah. Cause I just gotta get my fix. And they're always great,
hey,
super
healthier
helpful.
Than smoking.
Yeah, it's a healthier option. The science even shows it. The FDA doesn't want to talk about it, but this is the thing. It's true.
The government doesn't want to talk about how much healthier vape is.
That's my conspiracy
theory number one, huh?
Oh yeah, that's a good segue, James.
There we go. Yeah.
So yeah,
let's finish the ad for Lungbusters. Yes. They deserve it. They're really nice people.
Yeah, really nice people. When I go up there and get my vape, sometimes I'll sit there and talk to Johnny for up to an hour, just about all kinds of crazy stuff. And they're super nice people. They'll help you out. They'll get you started on it. It's way better than smoking. No matter what anybody else says, there's no. You're cutting the tar. You're not burning things. It's just warming the liquid into a vapor for you to inhale. It's just the safer option.
I'm probably gonna start trying it because I don't smoke, but I have been an on and off smoker.
Yeah.
And stress and life it's just been making me want to pick it back up again. And maybe if I pick up vaping instead, it'll be easier.
Yeah. But,
if I do want to do that, sorry to cut you off, but if I do want to get my vape and get started in that vape life, where should I go?
Go to Lungbusters of Lexington. And Johnny just laid this bombshell on me. He's looking to open up a second store in Savannah, Tennessee. So in the future, he will have more than one location. But if you can't get out to Lexington, if you're out in the Savannah area, you should definitely wait for them to come by because they'll help you out.
Tell Johnny you want it too. Let him know. Opening a Savannah store is a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Give him your love. Give him your support. We're going to have giveaways in the future. So be on the lookout for that. And without further ado, James, let's get into some conspiracy theories. So the FDA is clearly
anti-vape.
Yeah. I think that stems from a fear of, kids getting into it and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, you don't want them saying like prepubescent kids like hitting a jewel, but at the same time,
I mean, they're going to drink anyway.
If they're going to drink, if they're going to smoke, if they're going to do things
before vaping was a
anyway.
thing, people would just be out in the parking lot smoking cigarettes. There was always that group of teenagers that did that.
Yeah, usually over by the shop class.
Yeah, I can even remember like specific people who were doing it.
I can't.
I'll
tell you what, everybody in my shop class though, I was like the only person who looked like they didn't belong in shop. Like everyone else in my shop class was clearly like a country boy who like lived out on a farm and like did work with their hands. And then you had me, fat schlubby band kid who was like, oh, I made a paddle. And I did. I made a 2-3-inch thick paddle, like drilled huge holes in it so it would just whistle through the air. That thing hurt badly.
That should be used as like a bat for like
it could have been
like a cricket.
It was
Is
so
that what
thick it could have been? Yeah.
All right, so
but they used to dip. That's what I was trying to get at. Is nobody there smoked? They all dipped.
So among the things that people sent me on these on the question of what, if any, conspiracy theory do you believe is true and why, I got answers such as the CIA killed Kennedy because he was keeping America from war. I'm guessing talking about
Vietnam?
War with the Soviet Union or war with Vietnam?
Both?
Both,
probably.
Okay.
I mean, that's my theory. I mean, not exactly that, but my conspiracy theory that we're going to get into later has to do with Kennedy.
Yeah. We have that 9/11 was an inside job, or at least supported by the U.S. government. Says, and he gave another one. There are cures for some common illnesses that are withheld because managing conditions is more lucrative. I will say that
treatments and medicines are always going to give them more money than a cure.
I will say there is credence to that second one, because there's an actual real world example of that right now. I'm sure that some people of you that still watch cable television have seen the ads for Harvoni, which is I can't remember the pharmaceutical manufacturer of Harvoni, but it cures hepatitis C. It's a regimen that cures the disease. This stuff is priced so incredibly high. It's ridiculous. Now, a lot of insurance companies will pay for it because, hey, it's way better for us to pay for a cure for a disease now than have to pay for complications later on. But they also sell things that manage it too. Mm-hmm. And they sell that at a lot lower of a price point and stuff. So there's actual real world, like, evidence that has happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hats on.
Tinfoil hats on?
Do you think that's how Magic Johnson has not died from AIDS?
Well, if South Park is to be believed, it's the literal amount of money that he has that does it. Like cash money has anti-cancer properties, and he just lives in mountains of cash. That's how South Park said that.
So the Magic Johnson is still alive?
Yeah, because money emanates anti-cancer.
He doesn't have cancer though. It's AIDS. He's diagnosed with AIDS.
AIDS, that's right.
But he's lived like way longer and a way higher quality of life.
But see, here's the thing.
So you think his money can just buy him better drugs?
No, it's regular antiviral stuff. We sell it. Okay, I'm of the pharmacy profession, I guess. I have a
pharmaceutical world.
Yeah, I've been working for. I worked for two major pharmacy chains, retail, and now I'm currently working in a hospital setting, and I'm mixing IVs and stuff. So I know like a little bit about drugs and like why they're priced the way they are. Like I understand a little bit of how like the pharmacy benefit managers and stuff like that work. So I kind of know why the prices are so high for a lot of this stuff. But okay, if you're wanting to get your tinfoil hats on though with this one, James.
Yes.
There's people that say like cancer is something that is already curable. Like there's a cure out there for AIDS. It's just that these pharmaceutical companies or the government are keeping it from us because it's easier for them to put money into like chemotherapy and stuff, just managing the condition. And hey, maybe you'll get remission, but that's just like a part of the treatment. You know, they could just give you a cure and you wouldn't have cancer anymore. But this falls into like a problem is, something, actually, if you ever watch Kurzgesagt, James?
Yeah, you've shown me some of their videos.
Well, they have a video talking about, like, how do you debunk, like, some of these larger conspiracy theories, and, like, this one question can debunk just about any conspiracy theory out there. Now, am I saying that this doesn't happen? Who knows? No. See, that's another problem is they're not falsifiable. I'll get to that in a minute. But with this one, the question that you got to ask yourself when you're confronted with these conspiracy theories is, does it affect rich or powerful people?
All right.
Do rich or powerful people die of cancer? Yes, they do. Steve Jobs died of cancer. Jim Henson.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs died of cancer, but he also was like, I'm going to cure myself.
Yeah, he thought he was kind of
weird diet.
He was kind of a kook anyhow, but if he knew that there was a cure out there and he had the money to get it, I'm just saying, and he's not the only billionaire that's died of cancer. I mean, it happens all the time. So it's probably not true considering that the rich and powerful people would have access to, cures for cancer or something like that.
That's true.
Especially like high government people, former presidents and stuff like that. You think that they would have access to those things too.
That's true.
What are you looking at, James?
I'm working up my conspiracy theory for JFK.
Oh, okay.
There was a specific quote I wanted to make, so I'm just trying to find it.
All right, I was just making sure.
Look it up. Yeah.
So, what else we got on here?
Well, I know one that's controversial that's going to be on the hot takes is people think that 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah, and I've actually got some points debunking some of the big conspiracy theories surrounding that. But
so let's break it down.
Yeah.
They think, first of all, they think it was an inside job because it was the only way for the U.S. to be able to get the people to back them into going into a war in Iraq.
And you subscribe to that or what?
No. I mean, there's way easier ways to do that. The Iraqis were shooting at our planes for years. Just let them hit a few.
Yeah.
And then think about the millions and billions of people they would have to bribe, pay off, murder.
Yeah,
to keep it a secret, to make sure
and just the economic cost of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, like the events of 9/11 cost like $10 billion in damages. I mean, come on.
There's that much off the war?
There's way cheaper ways to get into a war if you really need to. I mean,
that's true.
Let's not be naive.
No, not at all.
And that's one thing that conspiracy theorists are always afraid of being. Like going back to that distrust. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing that a lot of conspiracy theories are founded on. They're founded on the concept of mistrust, like always mistrusting everything, which to an extent, like skepticism is healthy, but you also have to be able to trust people who have more knowledge than you telling you about stuff.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can't be an expert at everything,
Not unless you're Sheldon.
What, from Big Bang Theory?
Yeah. He's a genius. He knows everything about
everything. I guess so. Another one we got on there was somebody said, I was taught by my father that when we go to war that it is a form of population control. Could be. Like maybe like evolutionary wise, like we just have an instinct like too high population must kill.
First of all, I don't think we'd be using words like population if that's how we're speaking.
Or are they saying
too many men?
Or are they saying that there's
computers.
something like a global government that like regulates when and who goes to war with each other? That would be like one of those, what is it, Agenda 6 or something like that? I can't remember that. Hey, we said we was going to put our tinfoil hats on. So.
I know, but I mean, come on, man. That's a little Dr. Evilish.
Okay. They also said there are and always have been cures for about everything. Going back to that pharmaceutical industry thing, and the assassination of JFK was plotted by the government.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah,
that's a big one. That's one of the biggest, longest running conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There was conspiracy theories that, I can't remember. They knew about the assassination of, Franz Ferdinand. It kind of like started the World War I. That was a conspiracy theory, but I can't remember who knew about that or who they said knew about it. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, conspiracy theories go back hundreds of years. I mean, people have always, tried to explain things through a lens that maybe they can see or understand how it works when things are out of their control. That's
what I was just about to bring up. Do you think part of the reason why JFK is such a high on the list for everybody is it's one of the most recent times where an American president was killed
in daylight, public, out in the middle of a town square.
And it's a hard thing for us to accept and understand that one random psycho would want to do that.
Or just
no, there has to be another shooter. No, it has to be a conspiracy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you lose a sense of control in that way. You're like, geez, I mean, the president is, seen as like this untouchable figure. Just seeing one random guy get away with it just seems too outlandish. And that's why a lot of people latch onto these deeper meanings of stuff. And also because he openly was like, I'm a patsy, and that got everybody wondering about that. But I mean, if you look into Lee Harvey Oswald's past, he had a really hard life. He was, wow, that truck was loud.
That the government coming to get us. But they know we know the truth.
But I mean, he had problems with mental illness. He was an avowed communist. He wanted to move to Chile or Argentina or something at a time. Because he wanted to get in with some of the communist peoples down there. Yeah. He ended up moving back, and he was in the Marines too before. He was a sharpshooter.
But I'm going to shut you down, and I'm going to prove that it is a conspiracy.
Why?
So there's homemade footage of the shot that fatally struck President Kennedy.
Yeah.
When you watch the video, the car brakes, and basically the president ends up going back to his left, shot from the front and the right, which is totally inconsistent with the shot from the depository. So his head goes back and to the left.
They've already shown this on, I believe, Mythbusters. I want to say Mythbusters debunked this because they showed. I was
also just making a little bit of fun and quoting that movie JFK that Oliver Stone did.
Oh,
with Kevin Costner.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Well, they've shown in ballistics testing and everything, showing how, they called it the magic bullet in court, and that's why everybody was like, what? There's no way that, but they've shown in slow-mo footage and a ballistics, recreating the environment, the bullet after it enters and exits a body, it tumbles.
I'm not saying
it'll move its trajectory.
I'm not saying it wasn't Lee Harvey. I'm just saying that the government was behind it knew.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of with you.
I bet they knew that it was coming. But because Kennedy didn't want to play ball like they wanted him to, because his brother went after the mafia so hard.
Yeah.
When it was the mafia that got his brother Jack elected.
Well, the reason why he went to Dallas that day was to reunite, kind of play as a peacemaker between fellow Democrats. He was trying to unite the party in Texas because a lot of the Democrats were quarreling with each other locally. Yeah. And so he was coming to kind of show oh, we stand with all of you kind of stuff. So it was kind of a very, it was a Democratic Party kind of function.
I'm just saying, he just they got him out of the way. He and his brother also slept with Marilyn Monroe, and there's theories that the government was behind it because they were afraid of what the brothers might have said in pillow talk.
Oh, thinking that they killed Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, not only that, but that the reason Marilyn Monroe died and the reason why JFK and Robert were killed is because they were too concerned of what secrets the Kennedys may have let slip. So they had to get her out of the way because she might have known too much.
I swear, I mean, I've
heard
about that.
And then to keep them from telling anybody else. Because JFK was a notorious
womanizer.
Yeah, womanizer.
Yeah,
and a pill pain addict. Had back pain.
Yeah. Something else. Well, let's move down the list on Hero. So the next one says the MK Ultra project, trauma-based mind control / programming, and the testing of chemical and biological weaponry on the military and American citizens themselves. He said, well, they're declassified documents now, so it's not a theory anymore. And it's true. MK Ultra was a real thing. They actually dosed people with LSD to see what the effects on their mind would be. It was, I think, to try and find some sort of truth serum. And they did find that while someone's under LSD, they are more susceptible to tell the truth. So
Well, how about the...
I mean, because you're fucked up.
Is it the Tuskegee? Was that was?
Oh yeah, the Tuskegee Tuskegee Project.
Yeah,
yeah.
Where they clearly like exposed
sterilizing.
African Americans. No, they exposed African Americans to
syphilis to see about the effects on the brain. Yeah, because
and they
it
didn't
like
tell
eats
them.
your brain.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah,
and they had no idea.
So I mean, there are true conspiracy theories. There's things that have originally been seen as kind of like what, and then when it comes out,
it's just proof
like
that the government does shady stuff.
Just like, did you see the news about that pedophile ring?
What?
There's like this, like a bunch of super rich people like had this pedophile ring where they would trade like child pornography and like kids and shit. It's all kinds of messed up. And it's not the first time it's happened, because actually back...
All right, 99%. It's time to rise up.
Back in the 70s, there was a guy who actually was super rich. He bought his own private island, like off the East Coast, and had a like child sex thing there where like rich people would come and go from it. They would trade like all this. It was child trafficking,
disgusting.
And it was messed up, dude. So it's
Jared
not the first
from
time.
Subway and now these guys.
I mean, so yes, conspiracy theories can be true, but there are red flags when you're looking at conspiracy
No,
theories.
not anymore. You know what? You've convinced me.
Oh, God.
All conspiracy theories are true.
No.
Tin hats on.
No, there are some big red flags, and the first one was, does it affect rich or powerful people? So that's a good indicator. You got to be able to look at it. I mean, don't just like laugh off anything, but be scientific about it.
I mean, people laughed off flat Earth, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and say flat Earth is a thing, but I can respect the idea behind it. I think the original idea of flat Earth wasn't necessarily that the Earth is flat, but that we shouldn't just take for granted everything we're taught or fed by the government and authorities. But that we should question and do our own research.
Yeah, see, that's what they say, but they don't take that at face value, because when they see with their own eyes contradicting evidence, that's always some excuse to why it doesn't.
I didn't say I was supporting it. I was just saying I get the idea behind it of question, learn, do your own research.
That's where science crosses the line into conspiracy theory, though, is when you're not willing to accept contradicting. Because real science is wanting to be disproven constantly.
Vaccines are dangerous.
You make hypotheses, and you hope that some of them don't make it, because that means you're actually doing science. You're actually learning something. If you're only picking evidence that confirms your beliefs, that's circular reasoning. It's not science.
That's not how science works?
No. No, James. You form a hypothesis, test it, you gain evidence through it to further prove the hypothesis, and when you have enough like experimentation and observations and stuff, then you have a theory.
That's how science works.
Yes. So when people say the evolutionary theory, they're not saying, oh, it's just a theory.
No, they're saying it's just theory. Don't get me started on this.
A theory is a body of evidence that goes towards one thing. And yeah, it can still be disproven and stuff. But this is the thing. People equate the word theory with hypothesis, which is not how it works.
And to quote the great singer-songwriter Weird Al Yankovic from his song Amish Paradise, and I'll be laughing my head off while you're burning in hell.
All right. So here's another big red flag for conspiracy theories, James. Is it falsifiable? I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, what's that mean?
So, okay, say we have a question that can't be proven untrue. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like when we talked about teleportation and we talked about God.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to rehash that then. So, say like an argument for like the existence of God. Not giving my opinion either way on that, but saying you can't prove that God doesn't exist is already showing me that it's not science at all. So, see, science isn't...
Because if you can't prove he doesn't exist, then that means scientifically you can't prove that he does.
Exactly. So that's the thing, is science doesn't answer questions like that, though. They don't answer big, large, philosophical questions. Philosophy is separate from science.
But it is
It's metaphysics. It's above. It's meta, bro. Get meta with me.
All right.
Let's look at some weird memes later.
Just gonna say it. Aliens.
That Minecraft chicken water. Chicken bath water.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh man, it's funny. I'll show you later. But yeah, if it's not falsifiable and you can't prove it to be untrue, then it doesn't even lie in the realm of science anyway, and therefore it isn't worth debating.
I get that. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and also, by the way, what I got this from was a Wired YouTube video. I was
Yeah, that
watching.
makes sense.
Yeah. So, basically, by saying, is it falsifiable, we're asking, is contradicting evidence used to further explain the conspiracy theory? So, say, I'm saying, say I'm trying to say the earth is flat. And you say, why, if you fly in a plane around the world, you'll eventually end back up in the spot that you were once at? And they were like, that's because the Illuminati owns air traffic control. And while you're over the Pacific Ocean, you're actually going in a circle and going back around to your original location and not actually traveling in a straight line the whole way. Like they'll just say, contradicting evidence. Let me bring in the Illuminati now.
They're trying to say that you wouldn't notice a plane taking an ever so slight turn into a circle.
I don't know. I guess and they also believe that Antarctica is actually this giant ice wall that rims the whole.
So
edge
we live in Game of Thrones,
basically,
and the White Walkers live beyond Antarctica. Fuck it, it's got to be better than season 8.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Makes you wonder what you're going to find in Area 51.
All right, here we go, boys and girls. I am ready. Let's talk Area 51.
Tell me about.
I want to go. I've already clicked that I'm going. I need to get there. I didn't take a vacation to New Hampshire for my cousin's wedding. I'll take it to go to Area 51 and go clap some alien cheeks.
Dude, I wonder if airfare will get more expensive for that trip on that day. I wonder
Are
if
you
they'll
kidding
check
me?
up the
I
prices.
bet if we try to get tickets right now, I bet they're sold out. Or I bet, tinfoil hat on, the government's probably like, you can't sell any flights to Nevada for that date.
You know what?
That has to be a blackout date. No one can fly.
You know what, James? We're going to tack that on to the end of this episode. We're going to go on Expedia and look at ticket prices and see how much it costs to fly to Nevada.
September 20th. Everybody better be there.
Yeah.
We're expecting you.
We'll tack that on to the end of this episode. I think that'll be super
We need
cool.
you. We need you.
Yeah.
We need, man,
We need as many Naruto runners as possible.
we need Naruto runners, Kyle Berserkers, Kyle Medics.
We'll even take the Karens of the world.
Yeah, I need to speak to manager ladies. This is your time to shine.
Yeah. Get out there and do, work for a good cause.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be awesome food trucks there
Let's
too.
see them aliens.
Yeah.
Well, no, grandmas, dude. You already saw the post. Like, we're going to get an army of grandmas to feed us.
You know what, dude?
And then we've got an army of moms who are willing to bring us there, but we're going to have to find a different one to, like, bring us back because they're not doing both.
Okay, let me tell you what my theory is as to how this Area 51 raid is going to go down in real life. No joking.
All right.
This is what's going to happen. You're going to get maybe a few hundred people show up. Because, I mean, this is big enough to where I don't think just like
People
16
who are
people
within driving distance will probably do
will
it.
probably show up. And what's going to happen is, there's going to be opportunistic like people like food trucks that are going to drive out there and they're going to start selling food to people. And basically it'll end up turning into
Do a party.
just a party. I'm telling you, eventually it's going to turn into a music festival that's held on
September 20th every year called Storm Area 51.
just like Burning. It's going to be a new Burning Man type thing. I bet. That's what my
Dude,
theory is.
you know what? That makes so much sense.
I see it
Can
happening.
I tell you what I think's going to happen?
What do you think?
No joke.
Yeah.
People are going to go out there. People are going to be dumb. People are actually going to try to do it. And the government's going to protect its assets in any way it sees
You think it's
fit.
going to tear gas them or something?
No, dude, I bet we get dead bodies.
I don't know about dead bodies.
Nah, man, I'm literally seeing like, we warned you. We said we were going to protect our assets. Shh. Well, here you go, Kyle's. The thing goes, and they're going to take them down. Like, they ain't going to play. They're going to like,
Man.
I mean, Japan
Yeah.
bombed
Pearl Harbor?
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. He's having
I'm a
trouble
little
there.
tired.
December 7th, 1941.
Bombed Pearl Harbor. And what did the U.S. government do? Not one, but 2 nuclear bombs
Let me tell you a
on
fact.
peaceful towns.
Can I tell you a fact I learned today?
So don't tell me that they wouldn't take out Area 51 runners.
You know what's crazy?
What?
I never knew that wasn't the biggest bombing on Japan. Neither Hiroshima or Nagasaki was the largest bombing.
How?
They bombed Tokyo with, I want to say they said like 80 bombers or something like that, dropped like hundreds of bombs on Tokyo, and the casualties were over 200,000. Wow. And it was actually like, I mean, it was glossed over because, I mean, of course, you had one bomber with one bomb doing way more damage, so that got more coverage and stuff. But a lot of people don't know that neither of those two was the deadliest bombings in
That's
Japan.
crazy.
I know. Like,
Because
something I
it's
didn't
affected
even...
them for generations to come. People still have radiation sickness, all that stuff.
That's where Godzilla came from. Like, Godzilla is a Japanese, like, commentary on atomic weapons
and what happened
and
thanks
what
to
happened.
America.
It's their way. It was like their way of coping with the tragedy.
Godzilla!
See, it like the bomb is like it embodies this large monster that just indiscriminately kills. You know.
And speaking of Godzilla,
Yeah.
you excited to go see that new Godzilla movie?
I know.
Where he fights all the enemies.
Yeah, it sucks I didn't get to see it in theaters, but I'm cool with waiting until it comes
I need
out
to
on
see.
DVD.
I need to see Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, we need to see.
Yeah, we need to go. Yeah.
I need to see Kong Skull Island. I haven't seen that one.
No,
either.
well, later tonight we're going to be watching Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The final Friday.
Yeah.
Which makes the second official time they've said it was the end of the series.
Yeah,
But like the third time the series was supposed to be over.
you'll hear about all that
and
and
our
retro reviews. Yeah.
This is Conspiracy Theories. 10 foil hats on.
Okay, so last one on here.
Aliens. That's where we're going with this. Area 50. We're not done.
Oh,
Area
we're still
51.
talking about Area 51. All right.
Okay, I'm telling you, man. The only bad thing about it is we gave them too much notice. Like we told them
We're gonna
like
double
what?
their forces.
Well, not they wouldn't even have to do that. We told them like what? When did this happen? This month or last month?
Like a month ago, I think.
Like it started in June, maybe.
Yeah.
That's from June to September 20th for them to be like, all right, get the trucks in here, get all this UFOs, get all the alien corpses, let's get it the fuck out of here. And when we get there, the place is going to be empty.
Except for a Dollar General.
Yeah, there'll be a Dollar General and a Del Taco.
No, a Subway.
No, there literally is a Del Taco. Like if you look at the map, evidently as part
I think
of the
somebody
base.
photoshopped that, James. I don't see there being a Del Taco at
Oh, I am so heartbroken. I thought they for real opened a franchise in Area 51.
No, if any franchise was in Area 51,
Walmart.
I'd guarantee you it'd be a Subway. Because Subways
Subway,
are everywhere.
eat fresh.
They actually, when they were building a skyscraper in New York City,
They outnumber
Let me tell you something.
McDonald's and Burger King's.
whenever they were erecting this huge skyscraper in New York City, they put a temporary subway inside of a shipping container and had it hoisted up by a crane so that the workers didn't have to go down to eat their lunch. And they catered to them the whole time they were constructing that thing. So
That's crazy.
subways are everywhere.
That is true.
There are more subways in the U.S. than there is McDonald's.
Guys, forget Storm
That is
Area
a fact.
51. Storm Subway. How are there so many? Why are there so many?
And why are their footlongs not
Not
actually?
actually a foot long.
Yeah.
We need to know.
All right. So you think people are going to die?
I honestly see like some tragic things happening with this. I think enough people are going to show up and do it where the government's like, well, we warned them. And then, like I said, they're going to take them out.
Yeah. And we listened to that podcast by Joe Rogan.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah. He did a one with, what was it, Roger Cordell and Bob Lazar.
Yeah, I think that's it. But let me look it up.
This guy, he worked at Area 51. And I am pretty sure it's been proven that he worked in the vicinity of Area 51. I don't think it was actually
he
listed
didn't- I don't
as
think
that.
he claimed to work for Area 51. I think he said it was S something or
S4.
other.
S4
Yeah, it was-
is like
it was
this other
nearby.
facility that's like south of it.
It's episode 1315 with
Yeah.
Bob Lazar and Jeremy Cornell.
Yeah. Now his podcasts run a little bit long for my taste,
No,
but I mean,
Corbell, not
it's a-
Cornell.
Corbell?
Corbell.
Yeah. Robert, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeremy Corbell.
Jeremy.
And Bob
Gosh, where
Lazar.
am I getting Robert?
Bob Lazar. His name is Robert
Oh, okay.
Lazar.
Okay. Well, I said Roger too. I don't know why. Roger and
Robert
Bob.
Lazar.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah.
Corbell.
Yeah. But it's a good episode. You should definitely check it out. This guy, he's
We
probably the
actually
most
disagree.
convincing like he definitely sells it. If he's lying through his teeth, or maybe he really believes it, I mean, this guy is super convincing, and I'm sure
I believe him.
I'm sure if a lot of people, if you listen to this episode, you'll come out thinking like, yeah, Area 51's got 9 different UFOs in there, and they've been doing test flights with them and all kinds of crazy shit.
I believe it. I honestly do.
Really?
Man, I'm telling you, just logically,
I think parts of his story was
scientifically speaking,
very.
It wouldn't make sense for us to be the only intelligent form of life in the universe.
I mean, it makes sense, yeah.
So it makes logical, scientific sense that there are aliens.
But I don't think they've made contact with us.
Accidentally, maybe they were on a like a Star Trek viewing mission. Maybe they were just observing our society to see how far along we came.
But I will say,
one of their ships crashed.
Yeah, well, I will say that, like his argument that they were like from archaeological digs, they weren't from anywhere, recent time. These were like ancient UFOs that were like dug up and stuff. But then you've got
pyramids.
But then you've got to ask the question: how are there not archaeologists that are like living, being all like, hey, I dug up this really weird thing, and then the government came and took it.
You realize that, like...
Think of how many people have to be silenced.
No, they don't.
For something like that.
Anyone who comes forward looks like a lunatic.
But I've never heard of any archaeological...
Yeah, because they'd be viewed as a lunatic. They'd lose their job. Most of them probably teach at a college or have some kind of job in science that they would lose if they started saying things like, oh, I dug up a UFO once in the Sahara Desert.
Ah, man.
It was like 9 feet by 8 feet. Like, they'd lose their jobs and their credibility.
That's kind of falling into the falsifiable thing. Like, oh, yeah, well, then it's just part of the conspiracy theory. People are silencing them. I mean, it's just a hole that gets deeper and deeper when you're getting into conspiracy theory territory.
Yeah, that's true. But the problem with this particular one is it just makes sense that the government would want to make them look like lunatics.
I understand that. It makes sense within the realms of the conspiracy theory. But
well,
if
not
you're
only that,
outside
just
of that,
if it's true.
But Occam's razor just tells me, like, just cut out the fucking UFOs. They're probably just testing secret, like, actual U.S. aircraft.
With anti-gravity devices.
I don't think it's with anti-gravity devices. It may have been technology that at the time he did not understand or something, or he didn't have. But that's kind of like in the realm of what fucking military
Just telling
does.
you, man,
Look at DARPA. DARPA's got these robots that are almost thinking for themselves.
Which, back to an earlier episode of Wow, That's Deep, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. Conspiracy theory number 55.
But, I mean...
robots will kill us someday.
But, he even made the distinction himself in there where he was saying, like, oh, well, if you took, like, a nuclear reactor and dropped it in the Victorian era, they wouldn't know what to do with it. That's just like...
They would poke and prod it and kill themselves.
Yeah. And people were dying from like inhaling fumes and stuff from stuff at Area 51, which actually was part of the reason why we know about the existence of Area 51 now, because there was a lawsuit. The guy was like dying of a terminal illness and was like, I need to know what chemicals I was in contact with at Area 51, and the government wouldn't acknowledge that it existed, and they were like, he was never employed by us and all this kind of crazy stuff. Well, eventually it did come out. They said that Area 51 does exist. They acknowledged it.
It's where the aliens at.
Yeah, they acknowledged its existence in 2013, which is relatively late. I mean, it's been around for decades.
I've known about it forever.
Well, that's because people theorized. I mean, that in itself is a conspiracy theory that turned out to be true.
Yes,
does it exist?
Well, later we found out. Move the aliens out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, there won't be any aliens when we storm it, but maybe they'll miss one.
And then like, maybe clap those cheeks.
Well, I'm not going to for sure say that, because maybe it's a male alien, and maybe it's not interested in me. I'm very all about consent. This is 2019, bro.
Yeah, consensual clapping.
Exactly. But maybe they'll miss an alien, and it'll be like, Nino, Nino, and we'll be like, oh, motherfuckers, we were right. And we'll carry him on our shoulders, and then when he gets outside, he'll, turn into like a 40-foot tall spider and just start killing us all.
Yeah.
Because that's all he waited for, some dumb human dumb enough to come let him out.
But the Mac Daddy, are we done talking about Area 51?
I guess.
Well, the Mac Daddy of all conspiracy theories, especially in the modern time, is none other than 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Which we talked about a little bit at the beginning.
It was actually my first introduction into conspiracy theories as a whole, because when I was young teenager, I watched Loose Change, which was the documentary that dude came out with that was, saying that 9/11 was an inside job.
Was that the one done by that Michael guy?
Maybe.
No, that was Fahrenheit 9/11.
I don't think so.
I thought that was fair.
No, this one was called Loose Change. And, I mean, the dude's super convincing. I mean, at the time, I was just like, I don't know what to think. You know, I even watched, I think, Chariots of the Gods. Have you ever watched that? Mm-mm. That's another conspiracy, a big video for, like, Egypt and aliens. That's a big one for that one. It's like ancient astronaut theory and all that stuff. Like, I watched stuff like that, when I was younger, but, getting to the big one, which is 9/11, there are some...
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
What?
That it's the big one.
The 9/11's the big one?
No,
in our age?
I think there's
the truth movement is still very big. In fact, did you know that Star Trek 2 of the remake was a large allegory of 9/11 truth?
Well, yeah.
Because the director was a 9/11 truther? Did you know that?
The way you're saying truther. That makes me think of the way people say flat earther.
Or birther.
Or vacciner.
No, anti-vaxxer.
Whatever.
You got the terminology wrong, James.
But no, what I'm saying is I don't think that's the big one for our age. It's not the one that I think of the most.
You think of anti-vaxxer maybe?
No.
No.
Well, I think that's bigger.
Yeah.
The one I always think of is, ever since I've heard it, because I come from the New England area, and it happened not too far from home.
Mm-hmm.
It really struck me when it happened, and I'm talking about the Sandy Hook shooting.
Yeah.
So having people say, literally watch people say, oh, you know that never happened, right? That it was all crisis actors and it's all fake. Like those shootings never occurred.
Or that the gunman was government, hired. Or...
and I mean...
crisis actors. But this is the thing, when it comes to Sandy Hook, man, like, mostly the conspiracy theorists just piss me off. Because they sit and call these parents who have kids that were murdered and yell at them saying that they're not real people, that they're just actors for the government, and that they never even had kids and all this. I mean, you've got these people who are constantly harassed.
I think that's worse.
It's terrible. 9/11. It's really terrible. I mean, 9/11 survivors, like family survivors, they get that all the time too. I mean, it's just a constant barrage.
Imagine losing your family to such a tragedy.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of your life, you're hounded by these people.
Yeah.
That tell you that what you've been through is fictional.
But the thing, going back to 9/11, the heart of the conversation about 9/11 is that 9/11 was used as a pretext for going to war with Iraq and Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. And there are a few little holes that can be poked in that argument. One, you've got tons of people on ground at New York City that witnessed what happened. And you've got to expect them to follow your narrative and stay silent on things like the firefighters, the first responders. All of these people have to be in on it. Yeah. So that kind of like takes away the credence of that. So then you can say, okay, well then America was just complicit. They knew it was going to happen, but didn't do anything about it. That could be a little more believable. But then you've got the people who work for the CIA, the people who are like in it.
So many people who have to keep their mouths shut.
Yes, too many people to keep their mouths shut. It's going to be leaked.
Somebody's going to get a conscience.
Yeah. I mean, hell, WikiLeaks would have something on that if it existed. I mean, that was a huge thing. But there are problems with that. One is it costs the economy way more than something smaller that could have easily gotten us into a war with Iraq and Afghanistan. If we wanted to get into a war with those countries, I mean, at the time, James mentioned earlier, Iraqi forces were shooting at our aircraft flying over. All they would have had to do is let some of them get hit and blown out of the air, and then they could say, well, that's our justification to go into war. They shot down aircraft, I don't know. Maybe that's an act of war.
Maybe they were thinking that at that time it would take a huge
It cost us $10 billion. But
maybe they were thinking it would take a huge act to get the American public behind the idea. It would take another Pearl Harbor-like event for the Americans to go, you know what? The president's right. We gotta go to war.
But then why would they release the names and origins of the hijackers of the planes? That the hijackers of the planes were actually from Saudi Arabia and Egypt.
As a group.
Which had nothing to do with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Individuals are smart and talented and clear thinking.
Yeah.
humans as a group, dumb, sheep-like animals that can be led. All you had to do was throw in some Admiral Akbars and some other nondescript Middle Eastern names, and people were like, yeah, it's them. They don't care where they're from. They just know they're not from here. Yeah. And that's all it takes.
Yeah, true that. Another one is the famous quote, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, bro.
It can't. No, scientifically, it literally can't.
Yeah, it really can't. But no official organization or investigative inquiry has come out and said that had anything to do with any of the buildings collapsing. And most of this is directed toward Building 7, which caught fire because the two towers fell already, and it caught fire, and then it collapsed from a fire. It didn't get directly hit by anything. And at the time, that was the very first steel structured building that had ever collapsed due to a fire. And so a lot of people were skeptical at the time. And they were saying, well, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. That was, I think, more directed towards the Twin Towers, though.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. But actually it is true that the jet fuel can't melt them, but you don't even have to get as hot as that for the structural integrity of the steel.
Yeah, tell them about the video we watched.
Yeah, so we watched a video of this guy. He's like a metal worker, I guess you could say, a blacksmith. And he's got the same grade of structural steel. He's got two rods. One that he has in the furnace heated to 1800 degrees, which is 300 degrees hotter than jet fuel gets. But 200 to 300 degrees less than the actual melting point of that steel. And he took the room temperature rod and put it in this anvil that weighed, 250 pounds, and he lifted the anvil with the rod.
No problem.
No problem. Steel was rigid, did not move. And then he took the one out of the furnace that was heated to 1800 degrees, and all he used was his pinky, and he bent it in half on the anvil.
Yeah, like a noodle.
Yeah, and he moved it back and forth like a noodle. It was like a wet noodle, Mm-hmm. So, it doesn't have to get hot enough to melt to, affect the structural integrity of the building.
You forgot a favorite part of that.
And it makes the concrete expand too, which makes the concrete crack too as well.
Yeah, but you forgot a favorite part of that
what?
video.
What?
Was when after he bent it.
He was like, get a job.
Yeah, he was just like, you dummies, get a job. It was great.
But, nobody has ever come out saying that melted steel had anything to do with the buildings collapsing. So that's another big argument against that.
Again,
and
nobody
also
official government or anything.
But there was a steel structured building that collapsed in Iran in 2017 that confirmed that just a regular fire can make a steel structured building collapse. So there's your proof right there. It is possible. It did happen that way. So, take it how you will. You can latch on to different arguments about the conspiracy theory. A lot of them have been thoroughly debunked online. I pretty much believe how it happened. I think that they trained in a flight school and they went and all coordinated this attack. It's a group of people that were tied to Al Qaeda. It's way easier. It makes way more sense to not have to structure it through this vast, huge cover up. It's way easier to explain something that way. So that's my little Occam's razor moment.
Okay, so let's do this. So out of the conspiracy theories we talked about, which one do you believe?
Out of the ones that we talked about?
Yeah, which one do you actually believe isn't a conspiracy theory, but is actual fact?
I think the FDA is tricking us about vaping and trying to disseminate non-factual studies.
Do you think it's because big tobacco is such huge lobbyists?
I think so.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I could believe that.
Yeah. Which right now, I will say smoking, like tobacco, is at its lowest ever. Mm-hmm. It's around 8% nationally.
That's not bad.
That is not bad at all.
Not bad.
Because used to, we hovered right around a quarter of people, and we're down to just 8%.
Thanks to vaping.
Yeah. Hugely because of vaping, I think. More people are apt to have something.
Mungbusters in Lexington, Tennessee.
Yeah, check them out.
But I think that one's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I bet that there are cures for things that are being kept from us because there's more money in treatments than there is ever in cures. So I buy that. I'm not saying like big things like cancer or AIDS, but I bet there are things out there
that may have like vaccines that they've made or something
that they won't release because they don't want the cure out there.
Yeah.
That in Area 51, I buy it. They're aliens. They're real. We got to go get them. We got to go free them.
Like I said, I think aliens are real. I just don't think that they can or have made contact with us. I think we're just simply too far apart to be able to traverse the amount of space.
Unless they're more advanced than us.
I mean, you're thinking, yeah, there's astronomical odds that there are aliens out there, but the odds of all the conditions being perfect for life are really sparse.
You're going by human science, not science that exists on Clap-2 Neptar.
Well, yeah, but as far as we know, it's the only way that life can come about is through like a carbon-based life form.
Until we meet the aliens, bro. That's why we got to storm Area 51. We're going to learn so much.
Like I said, it's possible, but I'm just saying like the amount of space between those exoplanets and us is so vast. I don't know that they would even know of our existence because one, we haven't even been.
You realize we could be thousands of years in their past. So like they could know about us because in their world we're already dead.
What?
Whoa.
You just went on a different level right there, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. Explain your reasoning.
There's light from stars that we see in our sky that have been dead for centuries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there could be an alien planet and they know all about us.
Yeah.
Because we're already extinct.
No, that
They're
would be
so far away that we're already extinct and we don't know
it would be
yet.
the other way around. Like we may get contact from like a radio signal from a planet, but maybe by the time we were able to get there or anything, they could be gone. But it would be the opposite from that. They couldn't know about our existence before it happens.
What if they got one of our probes we sent out? We sent out probes and
They
stuff.
would get stuff from the times that we were alive, but maybe by the time they got to us, we would be extinct.
Or by the time it got to them, we're already extinct.
Well, yeah, it could be. Yeah, true.
And they know about us.
Yeah, we could be separated in far, span of time, span of like intelligence
we could
level.
be extinct.
Well, yeah.
As a species, we could be extinct right now.
No,
if
that's
we went
impossible.
far enough away.
You're thinking of it too hard. It's not like that, James.
I don't know. That math adds up in my head.
Whatever. Anyway,
Tinfoil hats on.
What's a conspiracy? So that's a conspiracy theory you buy into?
Yeah.
Did you have another one in mind that you brought with you that we didn't cover already?
Not really. It was mainly the first thing I think of when I think of conspiracy is what I said, JFK. And that's just because it's very likely that it's true.
You really think so?
I'm not saying that there's another shooter or that any of the crazy theories surrounding it are true. But the idea that the government knew more than they let on, that I really do buy. Like, I don't know if they knew everything or knew that it was going to happen, but I bet they know more than they would like us to realize.
But if they knew about it, why would they trust some random guy to carry out his plan?
Well, maybe there were other shooters and they just didn't have to shoot.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I buy the JFK thing. I think that
I'm not saying that they planned it or anything. I bet they know more. They knew more or know more about it than they want us to know.
Yeah, I think it's just like I said earlier. I think it's just a response to something that we're frightened of not having control over something.
But what's yours you brought with you?
So yeah, I have my own little conspiracy. Well, it's not my own. I read it on Reddit. And I'm totally by it. I think it's true. So James, back in the 80s, before we were born, Coca-Cola came out with New Coke.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the conspiracy theory.
You can buy that, by the way, now.
Really?
The original. Okay, they're doing some kind of Stranger Things 3 thing with Coke where you can buy for like $30. You can actually buy 1985 recipe'd New Coke. Like it's Coke made with the New Coke recipe.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And I would like to try it to see if it's as awful as everyone says it is.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We could try that.
But as I've said it before, I have a thing about the new flavors. Like anything comes out with a new flavor, I gotta try it.
Well, let me tell you what my theory is about New Coke. So Coca-Cola, this is my theory. It was a Redditor's theory. I don't know the username, but I buy into it. So New Coke was something that they made solely to take real sugar out of their drinks, because before New Coke, they made it with pure cane sugar, the kind you get from Mexico in a glass bottle and shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So they knew that...
You mean the stuff that tastes the best.
Yeah. So they knew that corn syrup, going directly to corn syrup, people would notice and they wouldn't like it. So what they did was they released New Coke, which was a totally different formula. And then they knew that there was going to be a public outcry about it because everybody wants what they've had forever. And so they were like, we're going to use New Coke to put corn syrup in our regular Coke recipe. And then when we reintroduce the quote unquote original Coke
or classic recipe.
Yeah. It'll have corn syrup instead of...
Now, how long did New Coke last? Do you know?
I don't know that. Like, I really haven't looked into this theory, but
we
it
need
makes
to,
sense.
Because if New Coke... The only way I see it working is New Coke would have to last long enough where people might forget the taste of it with cane sugar.
Maybe.
Which means you'd have to wait for all of the old Coke to go out of circulation.
Yeah.
That's the only problem with it, is old Coke would have to not be available. New Coke would have to last quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And then you could introduce the corn syrup stuff.
But I'm not going to further that by saying, like, I think the corn syrup, like, causes cancer, because that's a conspiracy theory too. But the body actually doesn't react any differently to corn syrup versus sugar. Like, it's the same effect on the body.
As the best X-Men movie Logan tells us, though, corn syrup is what, like, stops the mutant genes from developing. No, that was the whole thing of that movie.
Yeah, it was weird.
Was that the chemical they were putting into corn syrup, and that corn syrup was going into it was
he thought it was
modified.
The adamantium skeleton, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, or Wolverine, thinks it's his adamantium giving him adamantium poisoning. It's not, though. My theory is it's the corn syrup, the genetically modified corn syrup that goes into every food, every drink, all of it.
Yeah.
And that suppresses the mutant gene. That's why I think if they wanted to, they won't because he doesn't want to. But if they wanted to bring Hugh Jackman back, they could.
Yeah.
Because yes, he dies, spoiler alert, in Logan. But that means he stops eating, he stops drinking. Maybe that corn syrup works its way out of his system. His genes kick back on. Yeah. And he starts healing again.
Huh. That would be an interesting theory. I never thought of it like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'd have to say.
All right.
No, enough about corn syrup.
But yeah, we've talked about some various conspiracy theories, ways to look at it skeptically with, healthy skepticism. I don't think it's on,
Some you can just kind of brush off with a laugh, and others you should take a second and seriously look at.
Yeah. Except flat Earth. That's fucking stupid.
Okay. Let's name the stupid ones that you do not need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Flat Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-vaccine.
Yeah. Definitely. There is way more evidence that vaccines are good for us than any risk of
vaping
harm.
Is unhealthy and dangerous.
What?
That vaping is unhealthy and dangerous.
Oh yeah, as a conspiracy theory. I thought you were stating it as a fact.
No,
I was like,
no,
what?
No, dude, no. Yeah. It's
yeah.
one you can laugh off.
Yeah. Well, see, my thing is like
anything
definitely
regarding school shootings being faked.
Yeah.
There's never going to be anything to those.
No, I think it's just, think of how many people you would have to keep quiet about that.
All the children who would have to really exist somewhere.
Yeah. It's just bending over backwards to support your ideology is not science. And that right there is the biggest red flag.
And that's not how science works.
Yeah. So, James, are we about to wrap this up?
I think we are. So once again, we hope you had a good time. You can take your tinfoil hats off now. Put them away. The government won't be able to listen in on this anymore.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you. Shout out to Lungbusters of Lexington, Tennessee.
Yes.
Because we are really excited to work with them. We hope that they will enjoy what we can bring to their table.
Yeah. And if you listen to future podcasts, we're going to be doing giveaways, possibly some discounts and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. And check us out on Facebook. We are on Facebook at www.facebook.com/JRAM and Billy Show. We are also on YouTube. You can check the discussion you can check the description of
the link below
for the link. And check out our other podcasts. We do retro reviews. Wow, that's deep. We have other hot takes. And
We have episodes of Just the J. Ram and Billy Show.
yeah,
That's the one that just dropped this past Thursday.
yeah. Well, in
Was
our time,
movie, which was our movie trivia night.
yeah, which was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, we're going to do different stuff like that too. So definitely give us a follow here on Podbean, or if you're listening on Spotify, follow us there. And without further ado,
This is J. Ram.
and this is Billy.
Have a good night. So as promised, here is our Expedia.com review.
Yeah, so we were looking at departing from Nashville International Airport to Las Vegas, Nevada, which is the closest airport to Area 51. And we did it for September 19th and returning trip on the 22nd.
Most likely in a body bag.
So we can fly to Las Vegas for $276 round trip per person.
That's not bad.
$222
We'll keep
with
scrolling
Frontier.
and see what's the cheapest. Or can you arrange it to show it to you by the...
Let me see. Yeah, price lowest. So that is the lowest. Yeah, and it's direct flight too, nonstop.
All right, bro. I'm in.
Looks like
Let's
we're gonna be
fucking
clapping
go.
some alien cheeks.
Consensually.
I gotta see if I'm off that weekend.
We gotta fucking do it if you are, I'm telling you, man.
Ah, dude.
Could you have met? Look, here's the thing I want to say about it.
Yeah.
Even if they do kill us, how many people get to pick the way their story ends? And how fucking awesome is it if you get to heaven and they're like, how did you die? And you're like, stormed Area 51, the government killed me. I was part of a massacre.
All right. But yeah,
Pretty
so for Frontier Airlines, you can
Frontier?
yeah, Frontier.
Are they fat people friendly?
I don't know, but
I need
United.
a fat people friendly airline, man. I fucking go on no United flight and getting thrown off because I'm too fat to fly. Fuck that.
Let's see. I would probably fly Delta, so it'd be $315 round trip.
Nah, I'm
And
flying
it's got a stop in LA.
Southwest, motherfucker, all the way.
But yeah, so yeah. Going to Area 51 could be a thing. We could podcast from Area 51.
Dude,
That'd be pretty awesome.
I had to cancel my tickets to New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
That means I've got like a $300 credit on Southwest.
Really.
Yeah.
I need to see if I'm off that weekend.
I
I don't
know.
think I am. I don't think I'm
might-
off for the...
What if I go? What if I go and I record all by myself?
All right. So guys, if you've listened all the way to the end, our secret comment of the day, post it on our Facebook, is Clapping Them Alien Cheeks 2019. And you can hashtag that.
Yeah, clap them alien cheeks consensually.
Yeah, of course, consensually. Y'all have a great night.